The firefighters arrived at an abandoned warehouse. A boy was lying on the ground crying for help. Lieutenant Casey asked him what happened. The boy said Wiley and he were playing Avengers and they jumped. They realized there was another victim. Dawson quickly asked where Wiley was, following the boy's instructions. The firefighters found Wiley on the other side. When they saw Wiley with one foot tightly stuck and hanging upside down, everyone was shocked. Wiley's face was pale and he seemed to have stopped breathing. Casey quickly climbed up the metal structure. He told Kelly he would hold Wiley up to get his blood circulating. At the same time, Kelly climbed to the top and tried to free Wiley's foot.
This foot's wedged in here good.
Due to the urgency of the situation, Casey said if the ankle breaks, it breaks. Finally, Wiley was successfully freed. However, he was no longer breathing. Casey immediately began performing CPR on him. Everyone anxiously waited. Fortunately, Wiley finally woke up. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. One day, Wiley's father arrived at the firehouse. He was crying and told them Wiley didn't make it in the end. Later, Casey talked to Kelly. He questioned everything he did. Kelly told him he was unstoppable. It didn't stop until the kid was breathing. Two men decided to do a live broadcast involving their friend Jesse. They stuffed his head into a microwave filled with cement as part of the stunt. Soon after, 911 received a call for help.
My friend got a microwave stuck to his head. His head is stuck in a microwave. It's cemented on.
Firefighters arrived on the scene to witness the bizarre situation. While the man had a breathing tube in his mouth, the solidifying cement had crushed the tube, leaving him struggling to breathe. As the firefighters prepared to dismantle the microwave, Jesse panicked, lost balance, and accidentally fell into a swimming pool. The firefighters immediately jumped in and pulled him out. However, by this time, the man was no longer breathing. If he didn't receive help within 30 seconds, he would die.
Please don't let him die. He's my best friend since kindergarten.
Yeah, we had 30 minutes to get him out of there. Now we got 30 seconds.
The firefighters quickly divided tasks. One performed CPR. Another worked on dismantling the microwave, while others used chisel and hammer to break the cement. Finally, the cement was broken open, revealing the man's face. The firefighters promptly provided oxygen and first aid. After all the effort, the man survived.
Today's Shenanigan is maybe our most intense yet. Are you filming that? Yeah, Rogan and film it. It didn't happen. Say hello, Shay's Army. Hello, Shay's Army.
Goodbye, Shay Army.
It was these guys again. Last time, they stuffed their friend Jesse's head into cement for a live broadcast. This time, they were even crazier. The theme was called Scary Go Around. And once again, their poor friend Jesse was the model. To make the live broadcast more dramatic, they brought in a motorcycle. After Jesse sat down, Mitch started the motorcycle. As the speed increased, the motorcycle began emitting white smoke. The next second, it caught fire. Panicking, the two tried to shut off the motorcycle, but they couldn't, so they called 911. When firefighters arrived, they immediately used extinguishers to put out the fire. Then they worked together to stop the merry-go-round. What happened next shocked everyone. Jesse's eyeballs bulged out. The high-speed rotation had caused globalization. At the same time, all the blood in his body pooled in his head. The increased pressure on his brain caused him to fall into a coma. The intracranial pressure needed to be lowered immediately, or he could suffer a stroke. First, isotonic fluids were administered. Then drops were applied to his eyes, and the eyeballs were carefully reset. Soon, Jesse woke up, and his vision gradually returned to normal. At this moment, the captain noticed two men hiding in the grass not far away. He immediately recognized them.
You're under arrest for trespassing, vandalism, reckless endangerment, and disturbing the peace.
However, they still showed no remorse. They said they did it just to gain followers. The captain recorded the scene and sent it to Jesse. It was only then that Jesse realized he really needed new friends. Never offend your ex-girlfriend, or you might not even know how you die. Yesterday, Anthony had just broken up with his girlfriend. Today, a series of eerie events began to unfold. Anthony was in his smart home powered by Hildy. Before going to bed, he had clearly set the air conditioner to 80 degrees. However, in the morning, he was awakened by the cold. He could even see his own breath in the air. The panel showed it was 34 degrees. Next, he went to the living room. The coffee machine started working on its own. He took a carton of milk from the fridge, but suddenly, Anthony called out to Hildy several times, but it was useless. Looking up, he saw coffee overflowing from the machine. He quickly asked Hildy to turn off the coffee maker, but to no avail. Anthony had no choice but to unplug the machine. Something seemed off with the smart assistant today. However, Anthony didn't pay much attention to it. He went to the bathroom to take a shower. He asked Hildy to turn on the shower and set the water temperature to 99 degrees. But as he showered, the water temperature suddenly skyrocketed. A sharp burning sensation spread across his body. To make matters worse, the bathroom door suddenly locked itself. Anthony slipped in the scalding water, hitting his head hard on the step. The water instantly turned red with blood. More horrifyingly, the shower system turned itself off. Right after 911 received an emergency call, firefighters quickly arrived at Anthony's home. Surprisingly, the smart recognition system, the door identified the firefighters and automatically opened the door. The firefighters found Anthony unconscious inside. Fortunately, his pulse was stable, but he had severe head trauma, possibly a concussion, and first-degree burns on his skin. The captain noticed shampoo on Anthony's head, indicating that the water had stopped flowing after his fall, but who had turned off the shower? Anthony was rescued and prepared to be taken to the hospital. At that moment, Anthony suddenly regained consciousness. He was curious who had called for help. When he learned it was his ex-girlfriend, Justine, his emotions flared up. He said that woman was a devil. Indeed, everything was Justine's doing. Justine, who had a controlling personality, had installed cameras throughout the house, even in the bathroom. After breaking up with Anthony, she decided to use the smart home system to teach him a lesson. But when she saw Anthony collapse, with the water turning bloody, she realized she had gone too far. Terrified, she immediately called 911. Soon the police arrived at her home.
Serbiak
Can I help you?
The woman went to do goat yoga. Her eyes were full of parasites. Just now, she got up early and finished her yoga. She found her vision blurry. She thought it was temporary, but after blinking a few times, her vision was still blurry. This scared the woman badly. She quickly asked her voice assistant to call 911. The paramedics arrived soon. The woman tried to get up to open the door, but tripped over a table. They had to break in and helped her sit in a chair. She said her vision had always been good, but suddenly she couldn't see this morning. Hen found through examination that her vitals were normal. It shouldn't be a blood or allergy issue, but her eyelids were swollen, accompanied by mild inflammation. It seemed something was wrong with her eyes. Hen lifted her eyelids and found that her pupil's reaction was weak. The lens was cloudy like it was covered with a film. Just then a worm suddenly swam across her eyeball. The paramedic quickly took a closer look. The woman felt nauseous when she heard there was a worm in her eye. At this moment, the captain thought of a possibility. He suspected it might be a facefly, a parasite found in livestock, which feeds on tares and lays eggs in the eyes. But it rarely affects humans. Then the woman suddenly remembered. She had recently been instructing a type of yoga where goats were placed on the body. Perhaps she was infected by the facefly during a class. Hen used tweezers to pull out the parasites from her eyes. Filling half a bottle in no time, the woman finally regained her vision and immediately asked if the rabbits had any parasites, as she planned to start a rabbit yoga class next. This young girl slowly rose with the balloons. Everyone applauded and praised. Turns out today was her 15th birthday, so she wanted to make a big entrance at her Quincy era in this way. However, unexpectedly, a sudden gust of wind blew from the sky. The people holding the ropes on the ground clearly began to struggle. As the balloon kept swaying, the girl also started to feel scared. Suddenly, a parachute not far away caught her attention. Upon closer inspection, she saw a body lying beneath the parachute. This frightened her and she immediately screamed. Rescue teams quickly arrived.
It's terrible. The party's ruined. Are you kidding, Mom?
This is awesome.
Paramedics immediately climbed onto the roof, only to discover that the man had broken through the roof directly. Fortunately, he was still alive at that moment. It turned out the man while paragliding. Strong wind picked up. He tried to avoid some power lines and lost control. Then the man said he couldn't feel his legs. Firefighters entered the room to check. What they found shocked them all.
Bilateral open knee dislocation. The impact forced the femurs down through the knee.
It's better now that he can't feel